So we are here to discuss how to travel to India during COVID and what are the things you need to keep in mind while planning each of the steps in the run-up to our journey. This is Michael Khanna from SOS Global Indians, and if you like what we're doing, if you want to get more of this kind of content, please like this video, press the bell icon, subscribe to our channel, and help us help you. The most important thing that's currently happening with us is a lot of people are wanting to travel to India, and we have a team of experts, travel partners who have been tirelessly working with our members to help them through this time and planning their travel, going through all of the steps that are required while they plan their travel, and to basically help them with their bookings, their seat confirmations, all the formalities, step by step, basically walking them through what is required to travel safely and as per the rules during the current scenario. So a couple of things that I want to go through which you must keep in mind while traveling to India right now during COVID. The first and foremost thing is to prepare yourself mentally. This is not a time where we're traveling for leisure. This is not a time where we're traveling casually, or it's fun, or it's basically just a relaxed experience. Traveling currently is not a relaxed experience. Traveling currently is not the most casual, the most comfortable experience for a lot of people. It takes a lot of preparation and planning, and you must mentally prepare yourself that when you are traveling, you have to keep in mind a lot of things and prepare properly, and mentally gather together all the information, the steps, the protocols, the accessories, the requirements to help you through this traveling experience, which is going to be very different from how you would travel under normal circumstances. So mentally preparing yourself that you're putting yourself out there, and to travel only if it's absolutely necessary is the most important first step before you decide on embarking on travel right now to India. The second thing I want to discuss is are you eligible to travel right now? Now, people might wonder, oh, I can just book a ticket and I can take a flight and land up in India. Well, it's not so simple. That's because the Indian government has stipulated only certain categories of people who can travel. This information is readily available on our group or on government websites, on the embassy websites and so on. So there's nothing to worry as far as information is all out there. It's all very nicely put out, very easily understandable. You can just go through it, but you must understand each and everything that is said. Who can travel? Why can they travel? Why can't they travel? All of the categories that I explained, what you need to do. You need to be sure that you are eligible. It's not very simple, or you can't just decide on the spot and just book a ticket and take off. So please do go through all the eligibility criteria before you decide on embarking on a journey. The next thing I want to discuss is what are your travel options. Now currently there are certain flights that are available to travel to India. There are certain arrangements between countries. India has tied up with a couple of countries through an air bubble arrangement, and only those agreements are being honored, and traveling to India is available only through these limited options. Commercial travel for international traffic is not currently allowed to India, and hence you need to understand what your travel options are, what is the right choice for you, and how is it that you can get to your destination the safest, the fastest, and in the most possibly comfortable way under the given circumstances. So as I said, we have a lot of experts with us. We have a fabulous team who's helping. So if you need any advice, please reach out to them, reach out to us, and we'll be happy to help on each of these steps that we're discussing. The next important thing you need to know is what are the travel quarantine rules to your destination or in your destination. Every city in India, every state in India has its own slightly personalized quarantine rules. So you need to understand what are the quarantine rules, what are the expectations when you land in India for quarantine, whether it is a testing requirement for COVID, or whether it is, a 14-day quarantine, a 7-day quarantine. Is it institutional? Is it home quarantine? How can you, get through the quarantine requirements and follow the processes? So please understand from your state websites as well as the Indian government websites and the embassy websites, etc. Even on our group, there's a lot of information already out there. The team is here to help. So this information is very critical, because when you travel to India, you will have to undergo a quarantine, for a certain number of days. Now you need to understand and plan your entire itinerary, keeping that in mind, and you want to be obviously on the right side of the law. So please do not try to circumvent these laws, and try to go with it and plan your entire trip according to the quarantine rules in the state that you're traveling to. The next thing I want to discuss is following the government protocols. Now, like I was saying, make sure they're not found on the wrong side of the law. You want to be following all the processes, all the protocols. You need to be doing all the steps that are involved in ensuring that you're following the Indian government rules and regulations when you're traveling to India. All of this information is readily available, so you don't need to worry. But make sure you go through these details. Make sure you're covered for your testing rules for COVID, your quarantine rules, your stay rules in India, your eligibility. What is it that you need to basically do in order to make sure that you don't have any complications when you're traveling to India currently, and you can achieve your objectives and get back to your origin country as soon as you can. The next thing I want to talk about is basically preparing for your journey. Now, the journey per se is not as simple as I was trying to explain earlier. It's not like you can just land up, with a bag and then just take off. There are now certain preparations that you should basically, go through to make sure that you have the most secure, most safe traveling experience. Also, you're following all the protocols, and also you end up getting to your destination without any hassles. So whether it's something as simple as what is the baggage allowance in airlines these days, to what kind of meals are being served online on the airline, whether you can carry your own meals, whether they are offering any customizations, whether there is wheelchair assistance, whether there is a travel assistance available, what are the waiting times, when should you check in, how much of a leeway should you give yourself for the procedures, what are the check-in formalities, can you do online check-in, or is it only directly at the airport, how many hours before the flight are you supposed to do your COVID test if it's required, which airline needs a COVID test, which airline doesn't need a COVID test. All of these kind of things you need to plan for, and also need to get into basically planning the safest, most shortest route that you can from your origin point to your destination point. I strongly advise not to take long duration flights, or flights indirectly going to India. There are a lot of complications these days. There are a lot of rules that are changing constantly. Some countries are allowing transit, some countries are not allowing transit. As we know, UK is currently undergoing another wave of COVID, and that's impacted a lot of the travel arrangements, and India has kind of put in restrictions. So please try to fly direct. Please try to take the fastest flight you can, so that your exposure, even for yourself and your family during this COVID time, is the least. You don't want to be out there beyond the required necessary time. So please keep that in mind. But the next thing I want to talk about is staying safe and staying alert when you finally do travel and are in India. Now, it's all fine that you will get through all of these procedures, planning, and you will get to your destination in India, but it's not just getting there that is important. It is also equally important to quarantine safely, finish your quarantine, and then keeping yourself safe at all times, keeping yourself and your family secure at all times. Because when you're flying from an international country into India, it's a very different environment. There are so many people, there are so many exposure opportunities, there are so many exposure fronts. There are just too many angles that come at you, which you may not have thought of, may not have planned. So please be alert, please stay safe, and avoid as much of unnecessary public exposure, going out, mingling as you can. Do only what is necessary, do only what is an emergency, and just basically try to keep yourself confined and within your trusted and the people you are aware who are following safety protocols. So keep your exposure to those people, to your very close circle of family and friends if at all. Avoid large gatherings, avoid celebrations, and unnecessary exposure right now is something that you don't want to unnecessarily get into and find yourself in a complication. So that is very important. So landing in India is important, but also staying safe when you're here is as important, so that you do not end up getting exposed or compromising your health and safety. And the other important thing to do is to download the Arogya Setu app when you are traveling, so that you are aware and you're given alerts constantly if you unknowingly by some chance come in touch with or come in contact with somebody who is a COVID impacted person. You will immediately know, and then you can take immediate safety precautions and get yourself tested again, and whatever else that is required, if at all it is required, consult with your healthcare specialist, so on and so forth. And it'll make you aware of the risks that you are currently facing. So have that Arogya Setu app or download on your phone, and please follow it regularly, and also keep yourself as secure as you can, and follow all the safety protocols when you're traveling. The last thing I want to talk about is returning to your country of origin. So you followed all the procedures, you filled in all the forms, you followed the rules, you did the quarantine, you finished your India trip, you finished your objectives, and now it's time to get back to your country of origin. So that is also very critical, because you want to get back home safe, you want to get back home secure, and you want to get back home in a manner that does not compromise anything for you, your safety, your health, or create any complications. So when you're heading back, you need to check with your airline what the rules are for your state or origin or country currently, whether they need any testing, whether they need any forms, if there are any expectations from the airline or the government, whether it's Indian government or an overseas government, during your flight to that country. Check your eligibility criteria, check whether you can take transit flights, whether you're allowed to do it or not. Check all of these things well in advance, even before you travel out from your origin country, so that returning back will not be a problem. Also, please make sure that when you're traveling back, you follow exactly the same strict safety protocols on the flight, before the flight, after you land, and so on. And just as a precaution, you should, when you get back to your origin country, quarantine yourself or stay isolated as much as you can for a certain period, so that in case by any chance you have been exposed, you don't end up returning back and also exposing others who may be come in contact with you after you return. So these are some of the critical steps required, and I encourage you to let us know if you need any further advice, help. We have a fabulous team of volunteers who are here to help. As and when we come up with new updates, we will be happy to share those with you. We are hoping to soon come up with our own website, and there is also an effort on to put in place dedicated resources that will be hopefully full-time involved with managing the services and requirements and solutions on the SOS Global Indians Group, whether it's some processes, systems, tools, people, whatever is required. We're trying to see if we can put that together, for which in fact we have also put out a small fundraiser request. A patron link has been shared. I will also share it in the description. Anybody who's willing to support us with this fundraising effort can join our patron support group, and we try to put out important content and engage with those supporters of ours, so that we can give more and more value back for the support that they're giving us, and eventually that support helps us put in place all of these tools and resources which will help the group and our members in the long run. So that's all I have for now, and if you need anything else, or if you want to talk to us about anything, please send us an email on sosglobalindians@gmail.com. We are here for you guys, and we're honored that we have almost now 90,000 members on the group, and we will soon be touching about 100,000 members. So it's a big responsibility, and we're gearing ourselves up for that in 2021.